So today I'm talking about a Kia with the P0068 code, what it is and how you go about fixing it. And so what is a Kia P0068 code? Well, it's a manifold absolute pressure mass airflow sensor throttle position correlation. And what does this mean? Well, there's sensors that measure all the air that flows into the engine, and the onboard computer's seen a problem with this along with the throttle body. And so it's got to be troubleshooted to know why. And some possible causes, well, it could be the manifold absolute pressure sensor, could be the intake air temperature sensor, could be the mass airflow sensor, could be a faulty or dirty throttle body, could be a vacuum leak, and possibly a bad throttle position sensor. And so the first thing to do is to locate where all these sensors are located on your particular Kia, because there can be some differences. Older Kias had what's called a MAF sensor or a mass airflow sensor that measured all the air going into the engine, but Kia started getting rid of these, and so many newer ones, they don't have this sensor no more. And with the newer Kias, they just use the manifold absolute pressure sensor along with the intake air temperature sensor to know how much air is going in the engine. And so it's going to be a little bit different depending on the Kia and what's going on. But these sensors are going to be located up around the air intake box and around the throttle body. And so the first thing to do is locate that manifold absolute pressure sensor and either test it or replace it. On some Kias, the intake air temperature sensor is combined into the manifold absolute pressure sensor, so they're inside the same package. Again, it's going to vary, but the first sensor to go and check is going to be that manifold absolute pressure sensor. And if you do have a mass airflow sensor on your Kia, then that's going to be another thing to go and check. Be sure to check out that mass airflow sensor and be sure it's good. There's different ways you go about testing these. There's some good YouTube videos on that. Quite often they just get dirty and they just need to be cleaned up. But the next thing to go and do is to check out that mass airflow sensor. And so if you've gone through and you checked out all those sensors and you either tested them and they're good, or you replaced them and you're still getting this code and you just can't get it to go away, then the next thing to go and check is to check to see how dirty the throttle body is, because a dirty throttle body can cause a lot of issues and cause problems and can just throw everything off. If it is dirty, then you can get what's called throttle body cleaner, and you basically just spray it in there, and you can even use like a small toothbrush or something and just clean it up real good. And that's a common problem for many throttle bodies, is when they get dirty, they just start throwing everything off and they just need to be cleaned. So the next thing to go and do is check out that throttle body, see how dirty it is, and if it is really dirty, then clean it up. And so if you go through all of that and you're still getting this code, then another thing that can cause this problem is going to be a vacuum leak. There's some different ways you go about trying to find a vacuum leak. For example, some mechanics will use a spray, they'll start the engine, and then they'll spray wherever they think the leak's at. And then if the idle changes, then they know that's where the leak's at. Another method is to use a smoke machine and feed smoke into the air intake, and then wherever the smoke comes out, then you know where the leak's at. And so there's some different methods that you can use to try to find a vacuum leak. But the next thing to go and do is look for a vacuum leak. And the last thing on this list is going to be a bad throttle position sensor. And usually this will give another code. So if you are getting other codes, be sure to pay attention to that. But sometimes that throttle position sensor, sometimes when it starts to go bad, it can throw everything off and just cause issues. And so the next thing to go and check is going to be that throttle position sensor. And so that's basically it. I just want to give a basic overview of how you go about fixing a Kia with the P0068 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me. I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.